Do you feel the vibes?
What's up gamers? Today I'll be reviewing Forza Horizon 3. The first thing we need to know about video games are different video game genres. So video game genres is a specific category of games related to the type of gameplay or characteristics of gameplay. Video game genres are not usually defined by the setting or the story of the game, but it's more defined by how the player interacts with the game or how the game is played. What kind of experience does the game provide to the end user? So some examples of this might be role-playing story-type games, action games like the Call of Duty shooter, strategy like Portal, sports like FIFA 19, simulation like Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane 11, action-adventure like Red Dead Redemption, and a bunch more subcategories. The game that I'll be reviewing is Forza Horizon 3, and that is more defined into, it's not one genre, it's more than one. So it can be defined as a simulation, like a story-based game, and an action-adventure game. So let's get into it. Research studies shows that 1 to 16% of video gamers meet the criteria for video game addiction. Video game addiction is when playing a video game is your main way of dealing with everyday issues. Video game addiction is most commonly seen in players that play persistent multiplayer games or massive multiplayer online role-playing games. The interesting thing is that video games are often designed to become addictive, to entice you to play them more and more. They do this by rewarding the player. This releases a hit of dopamine, which is a feel-good chemical that makes you want to play more. Dopamine is released when your brain is expecting a reward. The longer you play and get rewarded, the more dopamine is released. This creates a feedback loop as the brain remembers what activity releases dopamine and what you need to do to get a hit of dopamine again. This is the start of an addiction. The longer this cycle keeps up, the harder it is to break free. That's why video game addiction is such a hard thing to break free of, because it's so easy and the access to video games is so open these days. It's very easy to never break this cycle and just to keep going. Another social and ethical issue is copyright. Video games and copyright, they work a little differently. It states the idea of a video game cannot be copyrighted, but certain aspects of that video game can. For example, written texts, which include the computer code, as that's in a written format, artistic work, such as photographs, 3D models, pieces of art that are in the video game, musical work, such as the soundtrack for that video game, intro music, and short animated films inside the video game. These can all be copyrighted. Very recently, a lawsuit came up just around this topic. The makers of Fortnite, Epic Games, have been accused of copying their rival, PUBG. PUBG has asked a court in South Korea to determine whether Fortnite copied its intellectual property. As more and more people are turning to video games for casual enjoyment and fun, it's quite normal to see heavy shooting and violent video games being played in the family household. It's believed that as more and more people play violent video games, that the crime rate should rise. But what happened was quite the opposite. Crime rates began to fall. Another ethical issue is the rate at which video games are beginning to look photorealistic. The first Forza Horizon launched in 2012 with graphics looking like this, and now the newest Forza Horizon 4, which was launched in 2019, looking like this. The same goes for an open world game, like GTA. GTA 1 looking like this, 1997, and now the newest with mod packs, GTA 5, looking like this, released in 2013. In around 16 years, GTA has evolved from being a pretty trash top-down view game to a 3D lifelike simulation in terms of graphics, physics, and other world elements. That's a huge improvement, to the point where it's getting very close to looking the same as real life. Take a quote from Elon Musk, founder of Tesla, SpaceX, OpenAI, and many more. And I quote, "If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then games will be indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will end. On one of those two things will occur. Therefore, we are most likely in a simulation, because we exist." End quote. This basically means that if we assume an improvement rate of 16 years maximum, a video game will look, feel, and behave like reality. it might as well be called reality because we would not even know the difference. Video game censorship is when a governing body limits access to a specific or groups of video games that are deemed to be too extreme or cross the boundaries. An example of this is a game called Song of Memories, which was banned due to heavy drug use and abuse in 2019. This sort of thing can really be seen from 2 points of view. One being, why is the government determining what I can see and not see? And two, that it's good that the government is limiting access to these types of games that are very harmful and can harm the outer community. Now let's get into the good stuff. Introducing Forza Horizon 3. The game is rated at a PG level due to online activity and a mild course of language. Forza Horizon 3 is an exclusive title, only for Xbox or PC. Forza Horizon is primarily a third-person game, but the view can be set to a first-person view if that suits your game style better. The minimum specs is not that high, which makes this game available for a wide audience. If you have a computer from 2015 onwards, with a dedicated video card and at least 2 gigs of RAM, you're good to go. Forza Horizon 3 was published in 2016 by Microsoft Game Studios and Turn 10 Studios. Turn 10 has published all other Forza Horizon games in the series, including Forza Horizon 1 through 4. They also released the Forza Motorsport series. Forza Horizon is an action-adventure simulation and story-based game, incorporating the open-world game style. The first Forza game was released in 2005, called Forza Motorsport. This was nothing like the Forza Horizon we know and love today. Forza Motorsport is a more in-depth game that has a bigger focus on being a racing simulator, with a very realistic physics engine. From this series, the first Forza open-world game was created and launched, called Forza Horizon. It was more focused on action, speed, and having enormous amounts of fun, with the simulation aspect of the game being slightly biased to provide a more fast and action-filled experience. Forza Horizon's open-world game is set in Australia, featuring many Australian landmarks, such as Surfers Paradise and the 12 Apostles, and many more. Forza Horizon 3 includes over 300 cars, featuring many Aussie classics as well as very modern cars. Unlike other games, Forza Horizon does not have a strict storyline, but still has an outline that provides structure to the player. The idea is that you're the boss of a Horizon festival, and as you race and progress, you gain fans. At a certain amount of fans, you can open and level up a second Horizon festival in another location around the map. You can build up to 4 Horizon festivals if you have enough fans. The festivals act as a base station for you to go to buy new cars, upgrade them, give them a paint job, and access to the auction house, where you can sell your creation for cash. Music plays a very important role in Forza Horizon. As it sets the vibe and the tone of the game. To complement this, each Horizon festival is indeed a huge music festival, with people dancing, disco lights, and an open space for cars to have some fun. You progress through the game as you win races, beat rivals, and complete challenges all around the map. You collect coins to upgrade and buy new cars from the shop. You also collect XP to climb levels. As you climb levels, you unlock wheel spins, which gives you the opportunity to win a new car. Forza Horizon is structured as an open world game that players are free to explore and discover. As players roam around, they discover objectives freely, as opposed to a game with more linear and structured gameplay. Forza Horizon, when first launched, had a very vibrant online community, with a range of live events as well as public and private online matches, or free play. For its time, Forza Horizon 3 has very realistic graphics, with the use of multimedia effects and attention to detail, such as bursting flames from the exhaust, realistic suspension movement, and dust effects when driving off-road. It really adds to the game when you can feel the different surfaces reacting differently, such as when you're driving on dirt, the car slides around more, asphalt is more grippy, and mud or water slows down the car and takes into account if your car has four-wheel drive or not. When racing in Forza Horizon, you have to make a lot of fast, realistic decisions. Whether to brake or accelerate, how are you going to overtake that car? Are you driving too fast to take that corner? Are all decisions that you have to make very, very quickly. Adding on to this, there's a part of randomness, because you don't know the actions of other cars, as well as how they drive. You have to anticipate the actions of the cars around you at high speed when in a race. How hard is that car in front of you going to brake to turn around that corner? How are you going to avoid that and overtake him on the outside? Are all things that you need to think about and anticipate for to happen. Yes, Forza Horizon is a great game. It's not too competitive, which I like, but it's just endless open world fun. It has a great online community and game forum for players to ask questions and discuss topics. I first played this game at a friend's house and it was just so good that I had to get it for myself. I would recommend this game to anyone. You don't really even have to be interested or know a lot about cars to have fun. At the start, this game was a big hit as it was set in Australia, which really encouraged people to get it. Video games are already very popular and slowly reaching a level where the graphics cannot really get any better. But what is going to change is the way that we interact with these video games, with different technologies, such as VR or AR. Virtual reality, which replaces your vision with a computer-generated image. You normally wear a VR headset for this, such as the HTC Vive. And augmented reality, which only partly replaces your vision with a computer-generated image, such as the Google Glass. VR gaming does exist, even though we don't really hear about it that often. There used to be a huge spike of interest, but the technology simply has not reached the masses yet. With VR, the possibilities are endless, especially with online gaming, such as the creation of virtual chat room and worlds. There are even omnidirectional treadmills on the market, which allow you to simulate walking in any direction in the virtual world. If you know the story of Ready Player One, this will all seem very familiar, but also scary. In recent years, mobile gaming has seen many improvements, with the expansion of mobile processors becoming faster, paired with bigger batteries and better screens to allow you to have a better mobile gaming experience on the go. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to smash that like button and set that subscribe button on fire. Let's get to 100k, boys.